Hi, and welcome to New Moon Spirit. My name is Erica Schreck, and I want to just say a little bit about this program and also tell you a little bit more about me. I wanted to say a couple brief things about my path and how I got to some of this shamanic work because it's been such an important aspect of my life. And so I have had a lot of different jobs. I actually have been in marketing in the corporate world. About 7 years ago, I can't believe it's been 7 years now, I left teaching writing at the college level, and I did that for 13 and a half years at universities both in Wisconsin, where I'm from originally, and here in Colorado, where I reside now. I also used to work in communications and marketing in places like American Express, for example. And I've also been a lot of different little jobs along the way. I've been a short order cook. I was a nanny for a few years, and I've been an editor and things like that. And in my other work right now, I also design and maintain websites, and I also have helped several people bring their books out into the world. And I've done the design, I've done the editing, I've done the formatting and things like that. And I always love to say and share this, but I was a welder as well. I worked for Milwaukee Electric Tool Corporation, and in the early 90s for a while, and was responsible for creating and welding the hole saws. So if you ever wanted to drill a hole in a door, for example, for the doorknob, I made that part to do that. So it's always a little fun thing to share about my history. But what I will tell you is that through all of these years, I've always been drawn to intuitive work, to really enjoy nature, to be very in touch with animals, and to really sincerely help people. About a decade ago or so, I was studying with a Lakota woman who was really teaching me a lot about ceremony and about journeying, shamanic journeying. And then a few years ago, when I was in the midst of some really big life changes and challenges, I had recently left an abusive relationship. So yay, I got out of that. And then I also, not long after, my beloved dog Harley, who was a part of my work that I do and love for many years, he died. And so that was a huge loss for me. And what I realized at that time, and really being in a dark night of the soul, I dug more deeply. And again, after many years, I don't know why, of not being in touch as much with my shamanic work and practices, I returned to those. And so I went right into shamanic journeying and being part of a journey circle locally. I also got such a huge urge and went ahead with getting trained with some advanced practitioner training with one of my favorite teachers, Sandra Ingerman, who's also an author and very well known, and really, really enjoy her work and value her work. So that's really why I'm here. And I've been doing so many of these practices and this work in the shamanic way, the Native American traditions, internally and personally. And in the last couple of years, I've really extended that and really have grown more publicly with this work. So I'm so glad you're here, and I really am grateful for having this opportunity to work with you in this way and to share this work with you. So the new moon spirit idea really came in when the new year was approaching, and I was realizing how much pressure we tend to really put on January 1st. And resolutions, we use that word, that gets overused, and people tend to not carry, these resolutions on. And there's just a lot of I find disappointment, frustration, sometimes even overwhelm with that day, with that time of year, in that sense of wanting something new and going about it in the ways that a lot of us grew up seeing that holiday, seeing this time of year. So I was really guided to think a lot about this idea of lifestyle and how much easier things are when we are actually bringing in things into our life and really seeing those things more as a lifestyle, more as a reflection of what we really need and want this lifetime, what we're wanting to change, the new that we're wanting to bring into our lives. And I was really drawn to, as I've been growing in my interest in the moon cycles, in the cycles of nature, that the new moon doesn't get a lot of attention. We hear a lot about the full moon, and it's bright and big in the sky, that full moon. I know that my dog acts rather strangely the night of the full moon. I've learned that. And when we look, though, at the new moon and the opportunity, the invitation that's there, few people take advantage of that energy. But the new moon time is truly auspicious. And it's a time when the energies really are even more so supporting us for new beginnings, our intentions, and the universe truly responding to that energy, truly wanting to invite in this idea of new and change and transformation. So another aspect of, in fact, with the new moon is that when we look up into the sky, we don't see the moon, yet it's still there. We know, if we look into this a little bit more, that the side of the moon that we're just not seeing actually has the light of the sun on it. And so the new moon also invites us to look at that aspect of when we shine the light on the unseen, the deeper parts of ourselves, the emotional self, the spiritual self. When we shine a light on that and look at our patterns, we are more likely to uncover something that's important. We're more likely to see the value in, it just takes some quiet time. It just takes shining light. It just takes the intention. So the power of the new moon just felt, again, so important, so valuable. And I was so inspired to take advantage of and really bring this more into the public view, this idea of acknowledging, honoring the new moon, and how we can amplify our intentions in this way each month. Okay. And again, the reality is that we can have transformation, change, new beginnings any day, any moment that we choose. But this idea of really capitalizing on this ritual each month of the new moon really, really drew me in. So with that, I have put together this program, and also along with it, offer you something else that came in so strongly as an inspiration to create with my own hands and with so much love and Reiki and intention, and using my intuitive senses to create what I'm calling the New Moon Altar Kit. And this offering, this part of this, also helps us create sacred space by having a space. The altar mat, which I've sewn and have used the fabric that I also use to create my sewn eye pillows, another product that I offer, just felt so sacred. And it's small. It's a small altar mat, meaning that it doesn't have to be big. It can be, you can take it with you when you travel, and it can be part of something bigger if you have a bigger altar space. But the idea that this mat, about 7 inches by 7 inches, and 7 being such a spiritual number, that idea really became important. And then I also include 5 crystal points, 5 clear crystal points, which amplify energy, amplify intention. It's called a master healer in its symbolism, the clear crystal points. So you have that as part of your kit, as well as labradorite. Labradorite is the stone, the companion for new beginnings. actually, too, which is very metaphorical and symbolic when we look at the new moon, I talked earlier about when we shine the light on what's deep, when we shine the light on something, we actually know and get to see the beauty that is actually there that we might not see at first glance. Because when you look at labradorite, for example, it looks very grayish blue. It looks sometimes like, what's the big deal about this? But if you hold it in light, in the sun, this magical, beautiful iridescence is suddenly visible. So I encourage you to do that with your stone. And the other piece that I include is moonstone. And moonstone definitely helps us with emotional healing, and it helps us connect more with moon energy. And then any other stones, anything else that you want to add to your altar is welcome. I include a candle as well as matches that you can, again, bring attention to, bring energy to this idea of having a sacred space with your altar mat and the formation of the stones, which I show you and suggest how to do that. But just when we light a candle, when we voice our intentions, when we write our intentions, all of that is part of activation energy. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful part when we choose to do our new moon ritual. So I hope that you enjoy.